stuck. I'm not free. I need to be free. How are we going to do it? Is the process going to be good?
Holy
Are the
crap.
people involved kind? And I was like, well, I'll do it. Why not? It's pretty much my deal. As long as it's creative, as long as the writing is interesting, and as long as the other people who are making it love what they're making, I'm pretty down.
It's openness to try things out, not trying to throttle or prepare herself for something unexpected.
No, I don't think I'm a phony.
Would you say you're a method actor?
Absolutely not. I definitely don't think Daniel Day-Lewis is tryhard. I do think some thoughts.
She can feel very strongly, have a strong reaction if she's very clear that that's not who she is.
I think that Nancy probably belongs outside of Hawkins, working.
It's a yes or no question, Maya.
No.
So you think Nancy belongs with Jonathan?
No.
She just has difficulty kind of almost like staying and narrowing down to like yes or no. Every time she got given a question, she'd almost be like, well, I need to explain all of the things I'm thinking about.
Is there anyone else you think should have died in season 4?
Stranger Things. Yes. Sorry, I'm supposed to be more
Yeah.
clear so that the lie detector makes sense. Yes.
You would notice some consistent themes. The artist life, relationships to one's own personal actualization, connection that an idea and a relationship to the divine have with those. Whether you're talking about Seymour in Introduction, or Paul and Joanne Doc, the book The Bright Ray of Darkness, that's about a life on the stage.
This is a lot of connection. You see how she just went
Yeah.
bing, bing, bing? I think these are connected and this and this and this and this.
I'm gonna throw all of the connections, but it's not really ever clear and concrete. Kind of have to fill the gaps in for yourself.
Collage, guide, a map for future me. Kind of to go to summer camp with everybody that I work with.
So many analogies nonstop. I want it to be a guide and a map and a summer camp. There's so many like shortcuts to describe what she's actually trying to talk about. That end preference is very high.
I would get really excited and then I would get really scared. I didn't know when to trust the excitement or not.
Actually, when she talks about personal things, they're about her personal feelings. Like that last thing she just said, it's like feelings are important. It's really important to validate your feelings and other people's feelings. And those are things that we need to help solve the problem.
It's supportive. It gives you differentiation and shape. It has no underwire, but it doesn't make that kind of uniboob effect. It's just a perfect bra. The Smarties achieve the goal of sourness with detachable eye cups. You make complete darkness without having actual pressure on your eyes, which I really like. You can tighten properly around the back so that
This is how I use this, and this is what it's for. This is the function. This is why it's useful. This bra, it doesn't do this. It doesn't do this. She did it with the scarf, and she did it with the eye mask. This is how it works and why it's good at what it does.
it's like amazing for cuticles. It's an amazing, like, kind of shiny lip gloss.
A lot of qualifying competency of this product. It's an interesting pattern. You're seeing a lot of what she likes, but it's not a one-sided, I just like it, or I personally feel attached to it. There's a lot of like, I like it, but also there's a really good reason why it works in the outside. It's almost like she has two ways of deciding on it.
Yeah, it's more how and is it possible? So like, is it possible? How are we going to do it? Is the process going to be good?
Holy
Are the
crap.
people involved kind? It's kind of more
Wow.
how I think about it.
As long as it's creative and people love what they're making, there's the values part that she's really excited about. But then, yeah, it's also about how is it possible that this is going to happen? How are we going to get the job done? Is the process going to be good? In order to understand if this is good, we need to know if it's going to work or if there's a pass and fail metric. Yeah, and then they also have to be kind. There's a lot of like feeling and also thinking in how she's deciding and measuring all of these things, almost in a way that's not difficult for her.
Most of it is about collaboration and teamwork. Bring in the fiddle guy, and the fiddle guy's like, how's this? And you're like, it's cool. How about you do it a little more like that? And the fiddle guy's like, okay, that's awesome. And
Does she seem stressed out by working together with other people and doing things correctly? Or like, I just know what I like, but I don't know how things work outside. That sort of stresses me out, making a thinking decision outside. outside. Instead, she's like, no, it's all about collaboration and teamwork. And actually, I wanted it to be like a summer camp and a collage.
Like, wow, that's a lot of not being worried about having to have a lot of people to bounce off with and not scared to almost go, well, how do I manage all these resources?
What idea for, and kind of in a big note file, and then being like, oh, those are connected, these are connected, and kind of sewing them together.
Even if we had to do that in front of people, if we came up with anything, even like monkey, funny glasses bear, like, you know, if we got a little beat going with that and it got cool.
When intuitives are trying to get in touch with their inspiration, which direction do they go to? You'll find with extroverted intuitives, they're looking for that inspiration outside. Like a lot of this going outside to get inspiration through ideas, connections, concepts, theories, and then using that to get the mental pings. And from that, that's when extroverted intuition starts going, oh, now my brain is getting so many interesting things to play with. It needs prompts, kind of like ChatGPT. The more prompts you give it, the better it kind of gets.
Promises, and how young people and people generally, we kind of get into these relationship dynamics or these work dynamics and we make these big promises. Like,
She says lots of connections, and they tend to really relate to outside stuff, not as much focus on her personal identity or personal experiences. If you've ever heard an INP talk about things, there's like this black hole where it just sucks towards them talking about what it taught them about themselves or what they were learning about themselves. With Maya, that's really not what the spotlight is on.
I didn't trust my feelings. I didn't know when to trust the excitement or not.
And where are we at today?
Balance. People are allowed to have alone time. You just have to have balance. You have to listen, and you have to tell people who you are.
With her, actually her inside feelings is something that she sort of likes to keep at bay a little bit. It's like, I'm aware of what I like and how I feel about things, but I also like to sort of manage that and keep that a little bit balanced.
I was on this kind of pendulum swing between wanting to ground myself really intensely. Like, I want a place I live, and I want a partner, and I want them to be my partner forever. And then being like, I'm stuck, I'm not free, I need to be free. You know, and then trying to escape from it.
Freedom, wanting that freedom, but sometimes it's like too much. So then she like goes in the other direction, and she's like, wait, I need some stability, but also like I sort of want to be free. And then, you know, like she's talking about the ways that I've been learning that I need to be grounded sometimes and actually sort of a little bit more anchored, and how that's actually sort of a good thing for me. But not all the time, but like a little bit more of that would probably be good.
When we're looking at our inferior function, it's kind of like a function that it's inferior to us because it's something that we don't always feel good at, but it doesn't necessarily mean we're not good at it, which is sometimes we feel like we're not good at it.
To live comfortably in the discomfort of kind of always having some things that are a little holding you in tighter than you want to be, and some things that are a little looser and more chaotic than you want them to be. And try not to drill too deep down either way. I mean, like the classic worst advice ever, moderation. The most annoying and best advice anyone will ever give you, moderation.
I love how she said, there's nothing worse than moderation. Just like to keep things and maintain things so that nothing goes one side to the other is just
boring.
Extroverted intuition, it's like, let's do something different for the sake of being different sometimes, or let's do or experience something so that we're not getting stuck, because I want to keep getting new ways to learn or experience a new thing.
You're reading the room, you're figuring out who people want you to be, you're becoming that person, what kind of relationship they want, you're offering that relationship. Doesn't really work, because then you're stuck and you are not free and you're not you. And
trying to become what people want you to be, and then that's a lot of outside awareness. That's a lot of looking at the outside and going, what's the outside information that is important that I need to maybe wrestle with. So you see her actually, like, it's not like she's shutting off and like trying not to accept the outside world. It's almost like she has to remind herself, hey, sometimes the outside world is something I need to create boundaries and balance from. So when you're extroverted, it's much easier to hear the outside stuff or see outside stuff and almost like adjust to it and be accepting it. And the work around it is actually sometimes to stop and kind of work to have a little bit more of an individual slowing down process. But with her, what are some things that you've been trying to figure out? She's like, that I'm allowed to be alone. That's something I'm learning to give permission to. With INPs or with introverts, all the extrovert stuff that comes to them, they kind of like check it first and challenge it before they accept it. The work for them is actually sometimes to be like, hey, just jump into the extrovert thing a little bit, you know, be okay with why not. But for her, that's not the problem.
Maya is a great example of how, even though she is very connected to her interpersonal feelings, it seems soft-spoken and sensitive. At the same time, look at what she's focused on all the time. It's outside connections. Even when she's by herself, she's aware of outside, responding to outside. And so even if she likes her alone time, or even if she's not talking things out all the time, look at all the ways that she needs to remind herself of to slow down, narrow in, and focus a little bit more on that introverted perspective. Extroverts, it's really easy sometimes to forget how aware of outside or able to respond or jump into outside experiences or outside decision making. For you, it might feel easy, but take a look at what the introverts are doing.
Ooh.
Wow. That was like,
That is nice.
that was,
Can we replay
there
it?
were so many functions there. It's like, bam, bam, bam. That was
What do you
crazy.
think? It seems like you know something. I think a lot of people are saying on the chat if they think she's already an E or an I.